It's gone peacefully so far.
Good. I'm not going to ask any questions, and I know you, and I know you don't have an opinion when you're working.
You know me, Mr. Bannerman. I have opinions, but I also have a job to do.
I respect that.
And you know I do it very well.
You do. In fact, there was a love story at one time, wasn't there?
It's not finished that though, is it?
No, it's to be continued.
For me as an adult, I can understand. Like, I know how to deal with it. But for her, it has been difficult. So the reason why I brought her here is for her to see that there are other white people that are not racist. So she will know that it's not like every white person she meets, she have to be scared. Because she was like, oh my God, why do they have to do that, Mama? I said, no, we're going to that protest, so you will see. There are other people. I said, it's just ignorant people that will behave like that.
So the message is about education?
Yes, it's about teaching my daughter that it's not every white person that is racist. So that is how, that is why. And why are you here, Keso?
Because I need to support people, and I feel like it's really bad that you can treat other people on their colour just because they look different. Everybody's the same in this world. We didn't choose to be black or white, like the message says on my board.
I'm just here to stand in solidarity with my friends, people of colour.
How do you hear about the protest?
Through Facebook, but then also my mate Uda, I talked to him about it, so we came down together. I've come to the back because I'm on the vulnerable list, so I've got to do social distancing.
I'm here to say that Black Lives Matter. It matters a lot because it's very important for people to know that racism is wrong. Yeah, that's all I want to say. Thank you.
To start with, if you're not white and you're watching this, I'm sorry, because I've been part of racism, and growing up I was definitely implicated and still am in stuff. And if you are white, then I need to, and we need to try and be better and to actually do something about it.
Racism is a pandemic.
How do you think the mainstream media might report this?
I've literally got no idea. I was really disappointed that when there was protests in other parts of the country. Madeleine McCann was the headline on most of the national newspapers, and there was radio silence on this, or it was relegated to some back pages. I'm hoping that if it keeps going, the media will have to report on it.
How did you hear about the protest?
I heard it from a friend. This one, he told me about it today. It's the first time I've come for a protest. I've never come for a protest before.
Yes. Most specifically, I'm still referencing the police state. I think police powers are way too dangerous, especially in countries such as the United States, which is what's prompted these protests. But that doesn't diminish the fact that they aren't oppressive in countries like the UK or pretty much any other European countries, because the power is too powerful for them, and black people are systemically targeted because of racism. Illustrated through stop and search, illustrated through, just the incompetency of these countries' governments to actually do something and make a difference for these people's lives. And I think that, protests like this, despite being in the pandemic, just goes to illustrate that enough is enough. People are angry and people want change, and systems of oppression needs to be abolished.
What about the social distancing rules? What do you think of those?
I think really that the social distancing rules to some effect worked, but they won't really make that much of a difference. And I think, we've gone too far personally as the government and our country to actually do anything meaningful, because, the lockdown should have happened way before it actually happened, and, measures should have been put in place way before when other European countries started to do it. And I think the government has failed to actually deliver an appropriate response, especially, in regard to the NHS. Yeah, social distance is important, but it's not just to put the blame on outbreaks of the people. It's actually equipping the NHS, funding the NHS properly, and giving them the equipment and PPE, which the government failed to do with that European buyout of PPE equipment. So I think, yeah, although social distancing is important, it's not the main cause of why this, pandemic has had such a high death rate.
This is an ongoing issue, and I think every black person can tell you in their hearts that this is not something that is just happening today, but I'm proud that we're actually standing up for each other for the suffering that's happening to us, no matter where we are in the world, because it's not just about what's happening in America, it's happening in the UK, it's happening anywhere where black people are, even in China, and to this day, even in Africa, we're still suffering because of this oppressive system. So yeah, that's it. This message is clear for all to see and for all to understand. A lot of people feel like it's our responsibility to fix our own oppression, but it's not. It's the oppressive system. It's white people's responsibility to fix the problem, and they need to understand that.
What's important and unique about this particular in the past week is, yes, there's been outbreaks of anger before with police brutality in the United States, but not to the same level of momentum as this had. Even on social media, which is obviously the main platform for where people are actually communicating because of the pandemic, there's so many different posts and so many different information on education and lifting the ignorance. And I think that's what makes this very different, is the fact that people are learning what it is actually about, and not that it's just racism, and that this is deep rooted and that people need to be educated.
It's about education and also actually having the time to understand the information, not just take it in so that you can come up with the responses to rebuttal an argument, but actually feel as though if this was happening to my children, or if this happened to my ancestors, how would I feel? So actually it's about more than just being educated, because a lot of people that are racist and cruel are very intelligent people, but they don't have the moral understanding of how that pain affects other people. They refuse to go down that path inside themselves because maybe they'll feel uncomfortable. They don't like words like white privilege or white fragility, but they are living, they are enjoying the fruits of their ancestors' labor. So it's like if I come to your house and I rob you and I give it to my children, and then your children come to me and my children and say, yeah, and your children come to me and say, oh, can't I have some of that? And then I'll be like, well, I'm not the one that stole it from you, so you can't have it. So it's more than that. Put yourself in our shoes and see how it makes you feel. And if you feel nothing, and if you don't feel anything, then you have to accept and admit to yourself that you're a sociopath. You don't have a heart, and you can never be the moral standard of what a good human being is. Like, you call yourself supreme, you call yourself civilized, but if you don't have the emotions, the emotional intelligence to be able to sympathize with the pain and suffering of others around you that your ancestors caused and your generation is complicit with, then you're not good people. You're not a good human being. You cannot be that standard. And black people are not asking to do what you did. We're not asking to do what you did to us. We're not asking you to do that to you. We just want you to treat us like human beings, like equals. We've never seen you as less than us, but you cannot expect us to keep seeing you as you're better than us, because you can't be. You can't be. It's never been the case. And we get taught this in school. When we learn about our past, they only teach us to a certain point where we basically have to internalize the inherent inferiority of our people. But that's not true. And that's what I'm saying. We can never stand together if we can't stand up for us, for the things that have been done to us and the things that continue to be done to us.
The way I hear you today,
Yeah.
I hear words of wisdom.
Well, I'm glad. I hope other people hear the same thing, and I hope it actually helps future generations to actually experience a better world than I did. Because although my ancestors, they've been doing the same fight and we're here doing the same fight, we keep experiencing it in different ways. Instead of the problem being addressed, it's being dressed down in a different way. They experienced a different monster, we're experiencing a different one today, but the monster's still alive. Thank you.